In this series, I'm going to be building an electric guitar for a talented young musician. Now, he's come up with a fantastic design, so all I have to do is build it. It's going to be exciting, it's going to be challenging. I do hope you'll join me. Towards the end of last year, I was asked by some friends in the village if I would build a guitar for a talented musician who is a very special friend of the family. And I said I'd be delighted to. So, just after Christmas, they came round and I showed him my collection of guitars. Now, there was one particular guitar that caught his eye. The Kingfisher guitar. He was particularly taken by the artwork that my wife Carolyn has painted on the front of this guitar. So I asked him to think about the sort of design he'd like and to let me know. And a few weeks later, he came back with his ideas. So basically, I'm going to be making a guitar which is inspired by the PRS 24. So over the last few weeks, I've been doing some research and I've produced these plans using SketchUp to give me an idea of what the thing's going to look like and positions, etc., that sort of thing. Now, he would like a flamed maple top and essentially the guitar is going to be black and sanded back, so you're going to get that lovely grain coming through, but the back of the guitar will be black, and I'm going to use Sapele for that. Now, the interesting thing about this is it's 24 frets. I've never built a 24 fret guitar before, so this is going to be a bit of a challenge. And I've just spent the afternoon trying to work out what the neck angle is going to be, because I'm also going to be fitting a tremolo. I'm going to fit a Strat style tremolo on this guitar, so I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge as well. And there's going to be some artwork, and I shall leave you in the dark with that at the moment because you'll see it as it develops. Now, I actually started work on this a few weeks ago because of the flamed or curly maple top. I managed to find some at Surrey Timbers in Guildford, and they sent it to me, and I started work preparing it. Right, I'm looking at the curly or flamed maple, and I like this section of it, so that's what I'm going to cut out. This is the template that I'm going to be using. There's a bit of a mark there, but otherwise it's clear up to there, so I think I'll just line it off here. Now I need to measure 441 centimetres, so we'll give it a bit extra than that, so let's go 4.5. Just check that that's going to give me plenty. I think I'm going to go a little bit more actually. Let's go 4.7. 4.7. Just draw a line there. This piece is 20mm thick, I believe. Yeah, it's like 20.5. I'm going to have to slice it down the middle. So that's 10mm, but I've got to allow for the curve, so we'll do it 9.5. Now, this maple is really hard and I need to get it right, so I'm just going to cut a little test piece here just to make sure that I have got the right size there. And that is just under 10mm. Now, this is going to take a long while to cut through because maple is quite hard. So I'm not going to film it, and I'll come back to you once I've done it. Apologies for the background noise. I've got the air cleaner on. Well, that took just under 10 minutes to do. Really slow. But it's cut really nicely. I'm going to have to watch this because of the way the grain is, the end grain. This is going to bow, so I'm going to have to flatten it out. And one of the reasons for doing all this cutting work now is to give it time to settle before I glue it together, because in my experience I've had things pull apart when the wood has relaxed. Oh, I was dreading that, I'll be honest with you, but yeah, that's come out really nicely. Right, well, I've cut the two body blocks out and they look pretty good. What I want to do now is cut out some for the neck. Now then, what I'm going to do is cut a piece that would allow me to use a bit for a base neck if I needed to, so a bit longer, but I also reckon I could get 3 necks out of this piece as well, which would be really good. I may even get more actually, because it's so thick, this piece. Anyway, let's cut that. It's incredibly heavy, this wood. Right, this piece is 200mm wide, so if I divide that by 3, it's 66, so I'm going to do it 65, and that should be plenty wide enough to do the necks. Managed to cut 3 neck blanks, one of which will be used for the commission. I've spent the morning thicknessing these blanks for the back of the guitar, or the main guitar body. Now I can't unfortunately plane the edges through the thicknesser because they're too high, so I'm going to have to plane them manually. So just have a quick look to see which sides look good together. I think it looks rather nice like that actually. So let me concentrate on these 2 edges, and I'll just put a mark on there so I know what I'm doing. So that's the top edge there, and that's the edge there. Now I want a nice join here, so this is going to have to be dead flat. Let's bring out the big one. Here we go. Just a question of applying even pressure as I go across. I'm not taking much off. Yeah, I do tend to wander off when I'm planing, and that definitely isn't flat. Well, the joint's not bad, but we can get it better. To make the final adjustments, I'm just going to use this shooting board, and I really only want to take off just a tiny bit, so we'll just set this to do that. What I do when I'm using the shooting board there is I flip the wood over, so this, I've got the arrow on the top there, this side I've got the arrow below, so that if there are any angles being generated there, they'll both cancel each other out. That's the idea. Not quite there. I don't think I'm going to get much better than that, to be perfectly honest with you. Well, that was a bit like sawing the legs off a table to try and get it square. I stopped before I took too much off, and it wasn't wide enough for the body. Right, just going to put some tape down the middle, rub some wax on it so the glue doesn't stick. Got my two pieces. Make sure they're the right way up. Wipe them down a bit. Just got myself a splinter. Right. Actually using Titebond. First time. Right, I'll leave that to cure. I'll probably leave it overnight actually. Make sure it's really solid. Right, next job is to cut out the neck, and what I've done, again, I've run this through the thicknesser this morning, so I've got the sides relatively smooth. It's not level at the moment, so I need to level the top, and it's just a fine adjustment. So I'm going to do that with sandpaper on a levelling beam. Right, now I've had to turn this piece of wood over because I noticed there was some tear out on the edge of the neck there, and that would have given me some problems down this end where the fretboard is wider. Anyway, I've flipped it over, and this side's much better. I've just marked on the 24th fret and the nut, and I'm just going to check those measurements on the plan. Always a good idea to check the plan. Now, I haven't written the measurements of the neck length on here, unfortunately. I happen to know that it needs to extend underneath this pickup. So if that's fret 24, which is here, I need to leave at least 55mm. So this is to scale, although I will check this out on my drawing on the computer when I go in and write it down. Now then, I've allowed 70, so that's plenty. And I've got plenty at this end to do the scarf joint. This neck is going to have a heel as well, and on this plan I've measured that as 34 depth, and the rest of the neck 17. In actual fact, I think I'm going to allow a little bit more than that because it's got to go underneath the pickup here. Yeah, so I may go to something like 38, perhaps even 40, and I can always trim it down at the end. So I measured 80mm back from the 24th fret. So let's do that. So 80mm is there. So this is the heel. I need to leave a bit so I can carve it away, create a nice shape there. So I may go back a bit, but at least as long as I leave enough, I should be all right. So the rest of the neck I'm going to cut down to about 20 mil. That should give me plenty to shape. I'm going to mark this as the bit that's got to be cut off. If I know me, I'll cut the wrong bit. Now I'm going to have a break for a cup of tea because me and measuring don't really go well together, so I shall contemplate what I've done and come back and check it. Okay, right, I've had a cup of tea, checked the measurements, so I'm pretty happy with it. I think I'm going to cut this neck out now. Let's go for it. I've cut it at an angle there. That won't be where the shape starts, it'll be further back, but I'm going to have to shape it anyway. Just didn't want to cut into either the heel or the top of the the underside of the neck, so I'm just going to gently cut this off. There we are. So I've actually cut this down to 38 mil. Now it's 34 mil that I've marked on the plan there. So it's given me a little bit more depth because this will slide underneath the pickup. So there'll be like a piece of wood there, and then it'll come up there. I mean, basically this is because this is a 24 fret. I can't get the neck in as far as you would like to, because the pickup's in the way, so it has to have this sort of tongue underneath which slips under the pickup. But anyway, that's done. Right, well, I've made some progress in this video. I've got the two book match top blanks ready to be thinned and glued together. Do that in the next video. I've got the neck blank cut ready to well, get the headstock on. I'll have to make the headstock in the next video. I've also got the body blank gluing up. So yes, made a start. I'm going to take my time with this build because it's this is an important guitar, this one. Do hope you'll stay with me, and if you've got any comments, please don't forget to leave them below, and hit that subscribe button. Anyway, I'll see you soon, and in the meantime, stay safe. Cheers.